All right, now that we've seen several games, what are your expectations, guys, for the Cavs in the postseason? George?
My expectations are they're going to get to the NBA Finals, but the team's expectations needs to be to win the NBA Finals, because any team with LeBron needs to feel like they can win the championship. So we'll start there. I don't think they're better than the three best teams out west. I don't think they're better than Golden State by any stretch of the imagination. I think they have a slightly better chance against San Antonio, but I don't think they can beat them. And I think they have a slightly better chance than that to beat Oklahoma City, but I don't think they can beat a healthy Oklahoma City team either. With that said, I do like what I'm seeing here. Now, there was a lot of talk about pace and increasing the pace, and it's funny because I was on SportsCenter yesterday with Tom Haberstroh, and he broke it down from the numbers perspective and said they're actually playing slower than they were with David Blatt. But what's happening is this. Guys are being more aggressive, particularly the big three. Kevin Love is not hesitating to take shots. There's no pump fakes or extra passes. If he's open, he's getting the shot. The third guy in that offense, much like Chris Bosh when he was in Miami, should be able to take the open shot right away. Kyrie Irving has been extra aggressive as well. He's averaging 16 shots a game since Tyronn Lue took over. LeBron is kind of picking and choosing his spots. Against the Spurs early on in the first half, he got guys involved. He had 6 assists and only 6 shot attempts in that game. And then in the third quarter, he exploded for 14 points. So what you're seeing is this. You're seeing LeBron kind of pick and choose his spots, making sure everybody's getting theirs, and making sure those two guys with him are absolutely being aggressive.
Go ahead. No, ladies first.
I mean, my expectations for them haven't changed. It's just they don't seem as outlandish as they did when they, lost by whatever it was, 35 points at home. And those expectations are to get to the NBA Finals and take, whether it's the Golden State Warriors or the Spurs, to 6 or 7 games. I mean, I don't think any of us are going to sit here and say we expect the Cavs to win the NBA title, considering the level of basketball we're seeing out west. But I think when you talk about pace of play, possession-wise, it seems like they're slowing down, meaning like the actual pace of play is within each possession that it seems like they've sped up. It seems like there's more movement. Yeah. It seems like there's less just pounding the ball. It seems like they're actually creating a big three that builds off of one another instead of what we had seen for like a year plus from that big three, which is like they actually seem to be detracting from one another, leaving it with like a big like 1.5, because the whole point of that is to kind of build off one another and have 3 guys who make you seem bigger than you actually are and make your team seem better than they actually are. And that just wasn't happening with them. And now you can see with this subtle shift in pace of play within each possession that you've got over the weekend, it was the first time that all 3 of those guys scored 20-plus points. And so I'm kind of in this place with the Cavs now. I expect to see them back in the finals now because they've made these adjustments. It's just nobody's going to be able to sit here and say I expect them to win it all.
There's no way they should not make the NBA Finals. No one in the East is going to challenge them. I mean, I like Toronto on their guards, but there's not one team that's going to challenge them in the Eastern Conference and keep them from the NBA Finals. If they don't get the NBA Finals, then shame on the Cleveland Cavaliers. They have no business losing to anybody in the Eastern Conference. Now that all the whole kumbaya's out the way, that they had the team meeting and everybody got their grievances out, they didn't need Judge Judy being in the middle of that whole thing saying you're right and you're wrong. Here's what it comes down to with the Cleveland Cavaliers in terms of their expectations. And we can't just put it on one person, but I'm going to. It's on LeBron James. I know Kevin Love was averaging 15 points per game under David Blatt, now averaging over 19 points per game in the 6 games under Coach Lue. But the one thing that LeBron, and John Barry pointed this out last night on my radio show, he said, you never heard LeBron say Coach David Blatt, but he's saying Coach Lue. And that's our leader, Coach Lue this and Coach Lue that. So what you're telling us is that our expectations are still the same, but we were afraid we weren't going to get there because of that guy. And that's why we got rid of David Blatt. Whether LeBron orchestrated or not, you can believe what you want to believe. So if that's the case, and now everybody's feeling better, you're 5-1 ever since you got rid of David Blatt, what's going to happen the next time if there's another distraction or if guys aren't playing well, somebody's not getting the ball enough? You don't have that guy to blame anymore. So what, you're going to blame somebody else now? I think that soap opera, the Cleveland Cavaliers, that question is still out there because it's one thing to say, okay, we feel better now. There's always a honeymoon period, and the honeymoon's been great right now. The beach is wonderful, the Mai Tais are great, but at a certain point, you got to go back home. And are they going to revert to the kind of team that we saw under David Blatt? Are they going to revert back to that? That's why Tyronn Lue said that, look, guys, you got to figure this out. You can't revert back to those bad habits. But what if they do that in a crucial situation, and he can't keep them and can't police them from doing that? Then what, the Cleveland Cavaliers? I can't wait to see, because that's going to play out at a certain point. There's going to be some turbulence, whether it's late in the regular season or in the playoffs, where Tyronn Lue's going to say, hey, wait a minute. Y'all guys say y'all can figure this out. That's why y'all had that team meeting. Well, go out there and figure it out, and don't just look to me to try to be the head of the snake. Go out there and bite somebody and make that work for you.
I think Freddie's right in the sense that the honeymoon is over, basically. That this is they've got to win here soon, and I know we don't expect them to win a title, but you have to expect a team with LeBron James, one of the greatest players of all time, to be able to win a championship. And I think that that's going to be the issue now moving forward. Is if this thing doesn't get done this year, what's next? What kind of moves can they make to make this team better, whether it's now at the trade deadline in a couple of weeks or whether it's in the offseason?
Because you don't fire a coach with the most winning record ever to be fired unless you think that's the one thing you can do that sort of takes this mental energy away from your team, as if that's what they're going to fall back on and blame, which is almost what it felt like. Certainly, there were some tweaks that needed to be made within the offense to get those big three playing together, but some of it felt like if from day one they always felt like he wasn't the guy, well, at least now you've taken away that as an excuse from them. And that seems like a key thing that they had to be in that meeting and be like, this is on us now.
Right.
No, it's really on LeBron.
Right.
Because if things don't go well, they're not going to blame James Jones or J.R. Smith or Kevin Love or Kyrie Irving. It's going to go right over there to LeBron James because he said he came back to Cleveland to finish the job that he left unfinished when he went to Miami. So if you come back to Cleveland and you're just making the Eastern Conference Finals and NBA Finals every year, that's not going to fly. Especially it's not going to fly for LeBron James because that's not what he came back to Cleveland for.
Well, so far they are doing quite well under Coach Lue. By the way, do you guys know where he's from, Coach Lue? Tyronn Lue? No. Mexico, Missouri. What is going on? I was born in Mexico, Missouri.
Oh,
That's
really?
the only reason why.
Wow.
I know, that's what-
So there's the sign.
Missouri.
There's the sign. Welcome to the home of Prince Siripapat,
Yeah.
Mexico, Missouri. Who
You
gave
know
him the
what?
Tyronn Lue guy?
It was my mom that actually brought it to my attention because he was actually several years older than me. So I had gone on to Tampa at that point. But
He's always going to be like he's 10 years of age anyway, Coach Lue. He's going to get carded until he's 80.
anyways, all right, we're going to get back to some football talk. Johnny Football, the gift that keeps on giving and the trouble that just keeps on happening. Does Manziel deserve